Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's Super Dave back again with the PA Politicare Revolution podcast. And we're back here again with another episode, and we're going to be talking about the elections, right? The elections that just happened, right? The county elections. And kind of like the state of affairs, what's going on over there, right? The title of this podcast is going to be The Fall of the Hogg, all right? And I'll explain when we get into it. The Fall of the Hogg. Right, so just go ahead and sit back, get something to drink, snack on, cigarette smoke on, whatever you enjoy doing, right? Whatever you enjoy doing in moderation. Just go ahead and get in. We're about to give you a good doozy of a show again today, right? And we're going to be discussing on the importance of this election and the impact. Because this has, in my opinion, right, this has a serious impact on the status quo, and it shows me that the citizens are now actually waking up. Going to be taking a good look at two elections, right? Going to be taking a look at the Justice of the Peace race with Joe Giller and Mark DeRuin, and also the state rep race with Christian Manuel and Joseph Trahan. I mean, I really can't emphasize the state of affairs that went on this past week with this election and how this JP race has been the shot heard around the county. The citizens are saying no more to the status quo. You know, Mr. Joe Giller took out a 12-year incumbent, to be the first African American JP of Precinct 2. And that's a big achievement, right? Regardless of him being the first African American, it was big to take over a 12-year incumbent. We're going to go ahead and talk about that and give some of our opinions on why that happened. I mean, is sending a clear message. The old regime is no more. You having different, more qualified people going in there to try to take reign, try to take control back of the county. You're saying no more to the mismanagement of the seat. Far too long, we have politicians been screwing over the money, either taking too many trips or not really trying to bring the budget down where the city can actually make, where the county can actually make a profit, and the city can be better represented, right? Whenever Port Arthur is showing that we are losing money in the budget, and whenever that the county want to cut something, it's going to go ahead and, if we have two departments being cut, they're going to go ahead and cut one of those departments, right? So we always have to be aware of the money, how the money is affecting us. And this one, I believe, is one of the main reasons why the citizens have chosen to elect Mr. Joe Giller, right? They've been seeing everything that's been going on for the past, 12 years he's been elected. We've constantly been in the red. We've constantly been losing money out that department, and nothing's been done to try to change it. So I'm glad the citizens kind of went out there and responded to that. I mean, it's a situation where if you're a 12-year incumbent, you should have a better control of what's going on with the county, and also you should have a stronger support base than you do, right? It's my opinion that Mr. Mark DeRuin has been actually comfortable in his position. He's been too comfortable in not engaging with the citizens, just kind of coasting by and letting things go by, right? Not really handling the financial deficits in that department, basically just coasting. And his inability not to connect with the citizens, that was the main reason, in my opinion, why he lost, right? Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knows the man, right? And there's a lot of times when you have these Parker puppets, they're just thrown in the office, and like, hey, it's kind of, and I tell you the truth, right? This election's over. To tell you the truth, I think this was pretty much a welfare position that they gave to Mark DeRuin, to tell you the truth. For some reason or another, I think Mark may have had some issues, was getting other jobs, or kind of defining himself on what he wants to do. and they gave them this position. It's a good $70,000 to $90,000 a year job, and he's been protected by the Parker clan, and there you go. That's what I believe. I mean, you can kind of tell that he lacks some confidence in when he's talking. He kind of talks very nervously. It's like, he has some other complications going on. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing on this, but it seems like he's really nervous, and he kind of hard to get out some of his ideas that he want to convey. So I think, this best friends being the Parker family, right? They kind of like just itched over and gave them this job, and something that he felt that he didn't have to worry about. He can try to retire to without even having to, to think about it, right? And that's a lot of times, unfortunately, when you have people that's not really born, bred, and raised in this community, they feel like they have an entitlement to the job, right? In my opinion, far too long, this precinct 2 is held by, white individuals, right? And with Mark DeRuin, I believe that they felt like that they was entitled to this seat, and that, hey, this seat need to be white held, and you black folks, y'all need to go over there and argue with Tom Gillum. Y'all Negroes need to go over there, fight with Tom Gillum over that seat, or y'all need to leave Mark DeRuin alone. That's how I felt that they, kind of did, because I always wondered why in the hell nobody went after Mark DeRuin's seat. You have 1,000,001 people going after Tom Gillum. Tom Gillum is coming out like the Teflon Don after going through so many battles and so many fights. Hey, you have Mark DeRuin over here basically unscathed, not even touched, right? And I think that's the first time he's had an opponent in 12 years. I believe the other opponent that he had, he may have got screwed out, or they kind of disqualified him for that race. So, you had the status quo pretty much babying Mark DeRuin for this spot, man. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So, and I also I posted on Facebook, right, a clip of Klein, where Klein had to say Mark will win if the black community don't come out. If the black community comes out, that he's going to lose. And then his post-mortem election take on it, he pretty much says that. So it's always whenever you have a white candidate when a white candidate losing, it's always because of the black turnout. It's not because he's doing his job poorly. It's not because of anything. Their main excuses for black folk came out. So another thing that you'll hear, that all of his white supporters are voting Republican. His white supporters couldn't come out there and vote. People, you can't have it both ways. You can't be a white person, want to side with Democrat and talk about all these Republican supporters you have, right? We know that the only reason a lot of white folks that votes the Democrat is to get that black base, right? It's to get that. Well, before it used to have that, you used to vote Democrat all the way down the line, right? So regardless of who it is, if you're a Democrat, you just vote right down the line. And I believe that you can't do that anymore, and I'm glad. So you have to go through and vote through each individual person, so you'll know who you're actually voting for, right? So again, you can't exploit that down ballot Democrat, or just voting straight Democrat on the ballot. So that's a good thing, right? So now, if people are really aligned to who they're supposed to align, now you have a different idea where people's ideologies are located at, right? And that's another reason why I say that black folk, we should not be based on one party, right? Democrats or Republicans. You can look at the county judge. The county judge flip-flop parties every so often. He was a Democrat. Now, when Trump got in office, he flipped over Republican, if I'm not mistaken. So you have white individuals, they go back and forth, or whatever their political affiliation, or whatever they feel like, right? It is only black folks that vote over 90% for one particular party, and we haven't gotten anything from the Democratic Party, right? So people, we need to understand that we need to be more fluid as far as policy. We need to be more policy-based than personality-based, or party based. It should be policy over personality and party, because that's what you ultimately want to get out of a politician, right? You don't care who it comes from, because both sides are racist, right? You can't say one side is more racist than the other. You tell the truth, you have Biden with all of these doggone money and finance he's giving away to immigrants. He's actually being more racist and is being a detriment to black folk more than Trump. Remember, Biden has actually put laws against black folk where Trump really hasn't. So I don't want to make this more of a Democrat or Republican type of conversation, but you have to understand, people, that politicians other groups of people use politicians for what they want. Black folk, we have some dying loyalty to a certain party when you have politicians that flip-flop from parties, right? When they're Republican, they jump over to Democrat. Just like if you remember Rod Carroll, right? Rod Carroll was going for sheriff. He was going against Zena Stevens and I think QB, if I'm not mistaken, right? He got knocked out of the race, and he was the only white candidate. You know, they like to split the black vote by putting two black candidates and putting a white person in there, thinking that the white person's always going to win or going to have a better chance. So he got put out on the news. He said that he had a lot of Republican supporters couldn't vote. Well, hell, if you vote Democrat, if you have a lot of Republican supporters, you're not a real Democrat. So you really need to align which party you belong to. You can't have it both ways. You could be a Republican, you can get those Republican votes. You could be a Democrat, you'll get Democrat votes. So that's the type of game that a lot of people like to play with black folks and the Democratic Party here in Jefferson County. People, you have to wake up. Well, we're starting to wake up, but we have to see where we're being manipulated and not getting anything for our actual vote, right? We're not getting anything. Actually, we're getting things that hurt black folk, right? I forgot that judge, that crooked judge that was out here used to give. They say they used to give people, used to ask them how much change you have in their pocket, then he give them a case on, you know, how much change you have, or give a sentences on how much change he has in the pocket. Lane Walker, I think, yeah, Lane Walker, something like that. So that gentleman, you know, was alleged to be a real big racist, but he was a Democratic Party judge. So, you know, people, we have to watch out and look at the people who we are actually electing, right? We have to look at the people we're actually electing and run their pedigree down. Run their pedigree down and see exactly who they are and what they're actually doing for the community, right? As what Mark DeRoan, his major thing was he didn't do anything for the community, and that's why he actually lost. Now, despite how you have a lot of racist white folk manipulate black folks in this election with the Democratic Party, right? There still be a lot of black sellout Sambo house Negroes, right, that fall for this and fall along with it. Now, you see in the Mark DeRoan's issue, right, you have these sellout county commissioners. They don't, you know, give a damn. They don't know what's going on. They with the status quo themselves. They don't care how racist they are, but you have these county commissioners willing to sell your black behind out. You have these constables, these sellout constables. They know how they use black folk to get the black vote, and that's the exact thing they use them to do, right? Mark DeRoan, who hasn't done anything in the community, they call out the sellout county commissioners. They call out the sellout constables to come on out there. Then you have the sellout school board president, right? Just going over there and just to get the black vote. So we have to understand, not only you have some races in here, you have a lot of sellout Negroes, a lot of house Negroes, a lot of Sambo black folks that told that racist line, right? They want to do anything to undercut black folk. If they can undercut black folk when they think they'll get a piece of the pie, being easy in the system of racism or in the system of white supremacy, they will sell you out in a New York minute. So, people, you have to be aware of that. And then you have to understand they need to be out there too, because it's a network, right? The only reason, and this was so pleasing, because the winner, Mr. Joe Guillory, won due to a whole litany of doggone issues, right? Mr. Guillory, they was calling his daddy. I mean, he was telling me he calling his daddy, talking about, hey, there's a good man running so and so, and pretty much trying to get Joe Guillory to not run, so Joe Guillory II. So, I mean, man, these people will call you at your house, call your family, try to get your family to talk you out of running, right? This is the privilege that these guys have. This is the privilege that the status quo gave to Mark DeRuin, right? This is the status quo, Allegedly, it was one Carl Sr. had called him, right? It's allegedly. That's what's being told to me. So, understand, man, these people try to do anything. They try to give you those calls, right? If they think they owe you, they know you, you owe them something or whatever, they're going to try to call you out and try to get you not to run. And also during the elections, Mr. Guillory was saying he had people coming around his home asking questions about certain, homes, property, just asking all kind of weird things. Man, it's crazy. And I think this guy was a convicted felon that was coming around and asking, but it's crazy. You have people coming around your house asking different questions to your neighbors and whatnot. And then, hell, when you actually go to the polls, you get these doggone thugs to goddamn attack the workers, man. This crap doesn't make any sense. This stuff has to stop. I'm guaranteeing you, with all of these attacks, with all of these things going on, you trying to intimidate people, somebody's going to get hurt. I'm telling you, somebody's going to get shot over a election. I'm telling you, I don't want it to happen. I hope it don't happen. But I'm telling you, these people that feel like they're entitled to this spot, right? They're feeling emboldened that they have to have this spot. And they can talk to you or do anything kind of crazy for you to give up the spot, right? And then it's crazy, right? With this going on with this dude, Blake, right? With this dude attacking a doggone poll worker, right? And it's sad, because I guarantee you, Blake Forrest or whatever his name is, it's Blake something. But I guarantee you this dude would not do that if the shoes was on the other foot. If everything was the same and he was working for the Guillory campaign, I guarantee you he would not go over there and fight Mark DeRuin or any one of his workers. I guarantee you on that, because we as black folk, unfortunately, we have a lot of self-hate issues. And it's just like Steven off Django, right? Just like Steven on Django, when the Mark DiCaprio who was playing the slave master died, you seen Samuel L. Jackson, who was playing Steven, hugged on to him as crying when he got shot or when he was dying. So, unfortunately, that's how a lot of black folk think about other black folk, right? And they think about white folk. They consciously or subconsciously believe they're better, believe that the white ice is colder, white skin is better than their own skin. Unfortunately, we have to, we've been traumatized through racism with that years on. We've brought that down, and we need to get that out of our heads. We need to clear our minds of being seen as inferior to other races, especially white people. So we are doggone ready to fight, die, kill, and steal over a white candidate, but you wouldn't do that in helping the black candidate. So I'm not saying anybody should be doing it to any candidates, but unfortunately, black folk, we feel like that we have to give our lives to white folk. You know what I mean? Hey, it's a sad truth, but we have a lot of sellouts in our community, and that's like a mental issue that needs to be cleared up, unfortunately. And also, there some people broke into his portable buildings over there on Guffway, right? Over there on Guffway, he's had his portable buildings over there for a minute, by the old Chaos, by my uncle's old mod shop. Chaos Mod Shop. Shout out to him. R.I.P. Unc. But Mr. Guillory has his buildings over there, and unfortunately, he had a little string of break-ins over there. So, and according to him, it wasn't happening before the election. So, he has to believe, hey, he can't prove it, but somebody connected to this election probably was doing that. Also, they had vandalized his campaign signs, right? His signs were the only signs that are on the ground. Some of them been moved or taken away from other spots and location, but at the library, you could easily see a lot of Joe Guillory campaign signs was on the ground in the streets. That was sad. They had to go over there that morning and go ahead and pick them up. Only his signs was damaged. So that shows you how the evilness that these politicians will go to, and they'll try to do to keep their seats, to try to keep their control of the city, and try to keep their people in these good paying jobs, right? So we as citizens, man, look, all we have to do to take this city over just to fight. You see with this race that Joe Guillory won, it was just a good fight. You had Joe Guillory wasn't scared to go fight. He had people on his side that wasn't scared to go fight, like Will Samuel. He was over there displaying a lot of confidence. He wasn't letting none of them get under his skull, and all the people that they was telling that was telling his uncles and stuff, hey, to come, watch him, this, come do something about him. Hey, look, this is the thing about these bullets, right? Once you show these clowns that you are willing to pay the ultimate price for your freedom, right? You're not taking any kind of shorts, and whatever it come down to, you down with it. If you with the shits, right? Once you with it, and you showed them that you with it, you won't never have any other problems with it, right? You won't never look. Once these crooked politicians, look, I'm gonna tell it to you point blank. Once these crooked politicians know that you're willing to defend yourself lethally, right? Legally and lethally. You willing to defend yourself with lethal force, they're not going to tell you anything after that. You won't have anything to do after that, because there's only one step to go after that. You're going to have to do it. And if you're not ready to get rid of your life for some of this crazy stuff by telling me I can't run, or I can't say this, or I can't do that, or I can't vote, you got the wrong person. You're not going to make me a slave. So once people start having that attitude, then we can actually take over the city from the crooks. And we can bring everything back for the people, run it how it's supposed to be ran, and have everybody that's within the city benefit, not just a select few that live outside the city, right? Siphoning the money out of here, because that's what they want to do. We're going to have everybody in the city benefiting from the city, right? Now, also, like I said earlier, you had all of Boss Hogg's crash dummy sellouts, right? You had the sellout commissioner, sellout school board trustee, sellout constable. If all these black folks just telling you, hey, vote for him, it's a good guy, we like him, this is we need to get him back on in, but not actually, explaining any kind of the issues that he has while the department's in the deficit, just all kinds of problems going on there. But you have these black folks just to bring out the black folk for the white girl, right? So, but nothing wrong with it if you just, doing it for an actually good person for the job. But hell, you just doing that because, you're a Democrat and you bought and paid for, in my opinion. That's the only reason why you're out there. Hell, they even had some people he just met. It seemed like a little girl over there. He's shaking her hand like he never met her before. I'm like, God damn, you just meeting people out here to come help? I mean, you can easily see about the community, about how each person reaching the community, right? When the first few days going over there with Mr. Joe Guillory's side, you had nothing but working and retired people helping, good people with good families, good established people. Over there with Mark DeRuin, you had some thugs, alleged drug addicts. You had all kinds of hoodlums over there, hired hands. I mean, it's just, people that doesn't represent the community, it just represent the represent a certain element of it, right? You know, you got some people that former drug addicts or former criminals, maybe current, that, you know, he just had pay us some money to come out there and work. On the other side, you had people of a more distinguished character. So, you know, after the word started getting out, he had to kind of bump up his look over there, right? And that's why he had to get one of the commissioners, one of the constables, and one of the board trustees out there to kind of help make that position look good. So, you know, try to make it look like, hey, he has a lot of support. But actually, he don't really have a lot of support, and a lot of support don't, you know, he don't support the people. So that's what happened when you get comfortable with certain jobs. You think this is owed to you. You think you're supposed to have it, and it's crazy, right? They'll do all these talks like they're trying to threaten you, and you know, I mean, he tried to make a Facebook post threatening Reginald Trainer about, hey, I see all I did for you, this is that, and you know, I see it's all about politics. You know, Mr. Trainer said, what did you do for me? Exactly. I mean, these people are losing their minds with the privilege that they have, right? Look, if you black, you better not go challenge a white person, right? That's how they feel. That's how they believe, right? And now if the shoe was on the other foot, they would, you know, it's all natural to have all, like for instance, right? Fire department, all leadership, all white. Nobody bats an eye over that. Why you don't see white folks talking about, hey man, you need to. Only reason why it is just because you're white. You don't hear nobody give you that excuse. Hell, black folks don't really give you that excuse. But here, an election in Port Arthur, a black person going to challenge a white person, a black person when he's the wrong color, he's in it's a black city, all this crazy stuff, all this ignorant stuff. But here he been here 12 goddamn years, so it wasn't black before then, but now it's black. But see, it's just the contradiction of these races you have out here in Southeast Texas, man. It's just the contradiction of the ones you have out here. If you're black, you're never good enough to beat a white person. It's always because, race. It's always because you have more black people coming out and vote. Hey, that's sad. So that's just sad. And so this race shows to me, in my opinion, that hey, everybody's tired of the Hogg, and Carl Boss Hogg Parker is losing control, right? This probably is going to be the political burial of Carl Parker's influence with the city. That's my opinion, right? And another race, talking to different people, running through ideas with different people, and another instance of that right here is between Christian Manuel and Joe Trahan, right? Christian Manuel, young guy, he's been working with Joe Deschantel for 17 years, if I'm not mistaken, right around that, 17 years. So he has a lot of experience in the over there with Joe Deschantel, right? And luckily I was one of the first ones to interview that young man. So in interviewing him, right, I noticed that he was very intelligent, right? He was intelligent. He actually knew what he was talking about. He had a lot of answers, a lot of good answers. I mean, he seemed to have a lot of snap for the position, right? Now, coming out of that political side, right? Coming out of that political arena, I really didn't support too many people that he was affiliated with. But I talked to him, I seen him, he was competent, he had some good understanding. So I was like, hey man, that was the first one that I ever endorsed or supported that was out of that side of the political arena. And that was kind of tied to, Boss Hogg or whatnot. Loosely or kind of closely tied to him. So I seen that young person was his own man or whatever. And, he seemed to have a decent understanding of what's going on. So, I kind of supported him. And from my opinion, right, I thought it was going to be an easy cakewalk on the job, right? An easy way, an easy person to succeed, Mr. Mr. Deschantel. And main reason because he's worked with him, right? And he had to co-sign to Joe Deschantel. Now, Mr. Trahan, from me not knowing, right, since everybody didn't have that interview with him, and I had the interview with him, so I kind of understood and knew Christian Manuel Hayes in a different way. So I had to, kind of interview him one-on-one. So that kind of formed my opinion about him. But, as we've seen in this election, you've had that Joe Trahan has a lot of support. He kind of came out leading. So I'm kind of wondering, like, wow, where this came from. So as me discussing some of the races with other people, another person brought me, hey, this is probably because of the Hogg, his family's affiliation with Carl Parker. And I'm like, hey, yeah, you're probably right, because look, everybody is going away from the status quo right now. Everybody knows that the county is messed up, the city is messed up, and the main politicians that we suspect that are behind it is people that's supported by the boss Hogg. That little political clique, that little political family, that clique, or the political action committees, right? That's kind of running a lot of these politicians. So unfortunately, the people that are tied to them are the ones that's catching the hell, right? So I'm saying, hey, if you on the side, or you taking money from Carl Parker or his political action committee, or anything related, connected to it, you probably want to get away, because that's probably going to lose you your election, whatever it is. Because that's the only thing I can see. Another aspect of state reps race is probably Mr. Trahan. He has a lot of connections being the Democratic chair. That's another thing that Mr. Trahan has on his side. He has been out there, meeting different people, and he has some family ties too that's giving him. That's kind of helping him, that's kind of have people endorsing him. So that's another aspect of it where he's more out there than probably Christian is out there, locally, politically, right? And but hey, we're gonna see how that race turns out. But I'm kind of thinking a lot of that too is kind of how he's politically affiliated with the status quo, even though I believe he's his own man, but a lot of people kind of looking at, hey, who's with this guy, and people not really feeling all of that anymore, and people kind of pretty much tired of the people that of the Carl Parker ilks, right? People that's associated with his pack, so that's kind of how the cookie crumbles for me, man. So, but this is a good shot around the world of JP. Mr. Joe Guillory took down a 12-year incumbent of the Justice of the Peace Office. Man, you can't get no better than that. You can't get any better than that. And it was just a sonic boom heard around the political arenas. Man, who would have thought that? Then you had these big shot commissioners over there helping them. You had these big shot constables over there helping them. You had these school board members over there helping them. So he had a star-studded lineup that only brought him out a little bit over 600 votes, right? While Mr. Joe Guillory, born and bred, had a grassroots campaign. He didn't have anybody, super name brand. Well, I don't even think he had any elected officials over there helping him, right? Didn't have any elected officials helping him. While Mark DeRuin had at least three off of our name that was out there consistently, right? Had Joe Guillory, you had Will Samuels out there, a former car salesman. You had myself that do my thing on the PA Political Revolution podcast. You had some other retired moms, people helping out over there. You got Reginald Trainer, that's another good name, man, a former candidate. So out of the people out there was Reginald Trainer, the former candidate, probably had the most name recognition besides Mr. Joe Guillory is actually running over there. So, led by Mr. Trainer, that was the key group of his support. You know what I mean? So that's it, a former candidate, not a former office holder, just a former candidate. So you had all them county commissioners, Port Arthur school board members, um, um, cops. I mean, constables. So you had a star-studded lineup over there that still took a loss. So hey, look, the people have spoken. Hey, and it is what it is. But yeah, man, I like to appreciate y'all for go ahead and taking a listen to me while I give this breakdown of the election. And man, I'm just still in shock over it, man, because I've been a part of a lot of losing elections, man. I've been going for a lot of people. We've taken some L's, and people are finally starting to wake up, seeing who's running this city and making the change. Like I've been promoting this, so forth. I'm gonna be promoting this some more. Hey, you gotta understand politics, who control what. These are crash dummies. They getting tired of these city council members want to take all these goddamn trips everywhere, not, being accountable to the city. So yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to get all of these people that's with them. Now you see the people that was with Mark DeRoon, you got to get rid of them too. You got to get rid of that county commissioner. Got to get rid of that doggone constable. You got to get rid of that board trustee, board president, whatever the hell he is. You got to get rid of them all, man. You got to get rid of all of the network of corruption. So that's why the evilness can thrive in this city, right? That's why we can't get into jobs, because they making wheeling and dealing, so they don't have to give you any jobs, baseless. So that's how politics is going on here in Southeast Texas. And also, if you like this podcast, go ahead and like it. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and Google PA Political Revolution Podcast. Our podcast is on multiple platforms. If you're on Spotify, hit Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, hit that, Anchor, and pretty much mainly most other podcasts you just searching on, and you should be on there. So, and also stay tuned, man, as we're going to go ahead and keep bringing you more coverage in city government and local elections. So we're going to go ahead and keep beating the drum bat, and hopefully, we're going to go ahead stay on the right path, and we're going to change this city by one elected position at a time. And that's me, and I'm out, and I appreciate everybody. Listen to the PA Political Revolution Podcast. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.